My name is Juliana Vandenberg. I work with Dr. Norman Schwartz. He was the first presenter today. He's a functional and integrative medical doctor, and I do the nutritional counseling in the office and the lifestyle education. So I look at with people in three different areas. One, food and what they're eating. The second leg of the stool, so to speak, is how you're moving in your life. And then the third aspect that can make such a huge difference in your life is how you're dealing with stress in your life. Those three areas are what we have most control over to bring ourselves into as optimal health as possible. Today, I'm going to be talking about trying to talk in 35 minutes in giving you a plan and an idea and information and foundation for how you can lose weight and be lean and also detox your body at the same time. So my background is an educator and a counselor. Also, I'm a Kripalu yoga instructor, and I had a bodywork practice combining counseling and bodywork, and now I'm working with Dr. Schwartz's, in Dr. Schwartz's office. So I applaud all of you for coming, and I affirm your being here to reboot your bodies, to reset your immune system and your hormones, and to detox your body through using optimal nutrition. To discuss detox, I'm just going to barely mention, we've certainly talked about this morning, that we're living in the greatest environmental assault in the history of the world. Tens of thousands of different chemicals that that are in our homes, in building materials, in the clothes that we wear, the products that we put on our skin, the shampoos we use, as well as the food we put in our body. But let's just talk food. In the past 50 years, we've or maybe even 100, but we've been subjected to an onslaught of mass production of food. Think of it. We really have the ability to supply food as never before. Look at the size of our grocery stores. Or online. You can order anything your heart desires from anywhere in the world. And we also have the ability to store the food as never before. The shelf life of foods is sometimes astounding, years. And we also are seeing the genetic altering of food and engineering. And this has led to what we call the SAD diet, the Standard American Diet. And it's sad. It is sad. And it's making us fat, slow, and dull. It's also making us have this growing distance from the direct engagement of how nature is transformed into a cooked meal. It's taking away the connection to the soil, the plants, the work, the creativity, the family, the community. It really goes on and on. Our son, when he came home his first year of college, he's out of college now, but he was sharing at Thanksgiving that the boy living in the dorm room next to him had never had a home-cooked meal. I mean, think of it. This is, even a lot of people think cooking is getting something in the frozen department from Costco and putting it in the oven and serving it. So I think that an underlying part of this, in some of the other presenters were talking about this web and this interconnection of food and family and the immune system of the earth, and we're part of it. The good news is you can eat your way back to good health. You can. Many of us are wising up. We're cleaning out our pantries, taking back our taste buds, and getting off the blood sugar insulin roller coaster. And we're doing this by eating whole foods, removing all the sugary, chemical-laden, fatty, artificial stuff from the diet. And ironically, this is called a cleanse or a detox diet. So here are the two choices. We've seen this slide before. On the left-hand side, the whole foods, they stimulate natural methods of getting rid of waste from the metabolism. And our body's really very good at this. The body on the right, let's see, I think I need to do another. That body is very good at, doing what it needs to do to get rid of the pollutants, it's managing. But the body on the right it's just exceeded its threshold for what the natural system can tolerate. It's very toxic, and it affects every system of the body. And on top of that, the same things that make us fat make us sick, and the same things that make us sick make us fat. So when talking about optimizing nutrition for healing, we really need to talk about blood sugar. And this is just a quick reminder, even one meal can damage arteries. So keep it in mind. This is a societal and cultural problem. I want to spend some time talking about blood sugar, because what happens when you eat these highly refined foods that are very high on the glycemic index is that they cause a rapid elevation in blood sugar. And when the blood sugar goes up, the pancreas then creates a lot of insulin. And this is the roller coaster that I want to talk about. So what are the foods that raise our blood sugar, and why is this important? So the things that are high on the glycemic index, and the glycemic index, what they do is they take a certain amount of food and put it in the blood, and they compare it to how it raises the blood sugar. They compare it to glucose, which is pure sugar. And as you can see, the highest things on the glycemic index are desserts, crackers, even white rice, and soft drinks, sports drinks. Now, the way to blunt this, I did just add in there, is by having protein and vegetables and heavy fat. Those always need to be in there when you're having a snack or something for your diet to control your blood sugar. Medium things on the glycemic index are root vegetables, whole grains, and then the lower things, as you can see, are most vegetables, green vegetables, nuts and seeds, the whole grains, and the legumes. And Dr. Schwartz mentioned that study about nuts, and it was actually more than 100,000. It might have even been 300,000 men that they followed for 30 years who ate nuts 5 times a week, and they had the 20% decrease in core morbidity. So the more rapidly food is absorbed into the bloodstream, the higher the blood sugar. The more rapid the blood sugar increase, the more rapid the insulin from the pancreas. Now, why is this important? Because insulin increases hunger, it increases fatigue, it really affects mood swings and food cravings, and this is the big one, it increases body fat. And it causes inflammation. And the inflammation is the kind of the basis for chronic illness and disease. And fat cells cause inflammation. So here's what happens. Let's say you have, you send your kid off to school with cereal, a little bit of milk, maybe some juice. That is a sugar bomb, okay? That is just pure sugar. There's very little protein in there, maybe a little bit in the milk. There's not a lot of fat in there at all. And so the blood sugar, maybe you have that for breakfast with banana, which would make it even higher on the glycemic index. So your blood sugar lifts up, and those are little red alarm bells. Dr. Schwartz said he thought they were boxing mitts, but, that goes up, your blood sugar goes up, it's an alarm, your insulin is charging, trying to take care of it. Every bit that is not used is stored as fat. And then when it drops down, that's when you're grabbing. You just need to grab anything to get your blood sugar up. And your mind, you're not even thinking, your body is telling you, and it wants a cracker. It's looking for the sweetest thing around. And it often is, who's a bread grabber or a cracker grabber? Or it just needs to get that blood sugar up. And then this is what happens throughout the day. Every time it goes too high or too low, that excess gets stored as fat. So fat does not make you fat. Sugar makes you fat. And I mean, just a story, I had a 7-year-old, I think it was 7-year-old boy, and his mother had him on a gluten-free, dairy-free diet. He had a lot of behavioral problems. He was in a special needs class, so he's being evaluated every hour regarding his behavior. And she was feeding him a gluten-free waffle. She was trying to do such a good job to go gluten-free and dairy-free, and some juice. And he went out the door, and he had a severe breakdown. Had his hand in a special ed class. When she started giving him protein for breakfast, as in some eggs or a piece of turkey sausage with that waffle, cutting out the juice, he never had one behavioral problem. And she did this over and over again. The teachers weren't aware, but she was experimenting to see. So blood sugar, in this previous slide, when we were talking about mood changes, when you have to question if you or your children or people around you, if they, maybe are irritable or foggy thinking or tired, or, it's oftentimes as simple as monitoring blood sugar. So here's another way of looking at it. We call it you have that high insulin, and then you drop your blood sugar, and you have increased fat storage, and then you're really hungry, you increase craving, and it's cycling around and round and round. And burns fat. So how to control your blood sugar? You need to eat frequently, not skip meals, and you really, you know, small meals and 2 to 3 snacks a day. And this carries with the detox protocol that we're going to go into. So, what you want to have is something like 15 grams of protein. For an example, that's like 2 eggs, all right? 1 egg is 7 grams of protein, so that'd be 2 eggs. Or it would be 2 or 3 ounces of meat or fish, let's say. 20 grams of carbs, that's not very much, and some fat. So that's the way we want to balance what we're eating. Some protein, low on the carbs, and some good healthy fats. Some examples are, well, we love protein-based smoothies. We use a rice-based protein powder at our office. There are a lot of good ones out there. Some have hemp and pea protein. I notice Orthomolecular has a core protein powder out there with maybe a half cup of frozen blueberries, and then, after a while you can start getting a little exotic and putting ground flax seeds, and then after a while you think, oh, how about some chia seeds in there for high omega-3s? And, I'm speaking to some of the people who are kind of into this kind of stuff, maybe a big spoonful of coconut oil, or maybe if you want a little more protein and fat, a spoonful of almond butter. You have a really good breakfast there, or snack. How many people get home at 5 or 5:30 or 6, whenever you get home, and you're just kind of desperate, right? And a leftover meal is like gold or something in the oven, or in the refrigerator, because there's something there. So really 3 o'clock is such an important time to have a protein smoothie or a substantial snack for a lot of us. Handful of nuts and a piece of fruit, veggies and hummus, as my friend says from Israel. Or one of the things I like is to take a piece of good turkey. There are processed turkeys that I would not buy because they're really filled with a lot of MSG and all kinds of preservatives. But there are some better ones. A boar's head doesn't put anything in their turkey, but you take a slice of turkey and then you put some avocado on there, and buy those packages of already washed organic greens, and you put salad mixes, and you put some of that in there, and you just roll the turkey up, and you have 2 or 3 of those, or just take them to work with you in a little container. You've got to this is the way you got to start planning and thinking and managing your life in a way that you're supporting yourself and that works for you. Talked earlier about the addictive nature of food, and just, I want to say just one thing. I mean, imagine if you had a pile of broccoli in front of you and a pile of apple slices. I mean, who here would binge on those? On the other hand, if you had a bowl of potato chips there, or a bag of cookies, or how about a pint of your favorite ice cream? These foods are absolutely addictive. And I think that point was made very clear this morning. Just ask yourself, do you ever say, how many of you get up in the morning and say, I am not going to eat those chips. I am not going to eat those cookies. I am going to be really good today, right? And but then, oh well, maybe tomorrow, I'll do it, and then feel bad about yourself and negative. That is the addictive nature that we're talking about. This is not weak. You are not weak-willed. Maybe a little bit, but you just need to be weak-willed for a short amount of time to break the addictive cycle. So food and eating are information. So we've kind of talked about this, the lean, oh, I like to move, and okay, I'm right here. We've kind of talked about the lean part, and seriously, if you want to lose fat, you need to manage your blood sugar by staying in this narrow range, eating regularly, having some protein and fat and a little bit of carb, and that's the way that we see all the time in the office, weight come off. I mean, granted, do you need to move and exercise in your life? Yes. You know, do you need to deal with stress? Yes. But as far as food goes, so here are the things, I'm just going to quickly go through them because we already did this morning. The free-range, hormone, antibiotic, free eggs, fresh cold water fish, organic produce when possible, wash before eating, avoid drinking out of the plastic bottles. This will be available for you on the slide, so you can download it and, you know, get it to the right size that you can cut it and put it in your billfold so that you can make healthy choices. I also just want to talk a little bit about the benefit of water in a detox and really cleansing your body, because it flushes out the toxins and that are released when you lose weight and when you burn that fat, that stored fat. And staying hydrated also makes you feel more full. A lot of times, I've learned from clients that I work with that they think they're hungry, but really they're thirsty. And so whenever you think you're hungry, have 16 ounces of water. You really need half your body weight in pounds in ounces. So if you weigh 160 pounds, you really should be having 80 ounces of water a day. Okay, that's 8, 10-ounce glasses of water. And not all at once. You know, this is something that you need to be sipping on water throughout the day. You need more if you're exercising more, and more if you're drinking caffeinated beverages. Okay, so this is a little complicated because a detox is a little bit different than a elimination diet or we're just kind of combining the best of all worlds in this, but I want to quickly review for you macronutrients, what you need. You need quality proteins, nuts, seeds, legumes, those are the macronutrients, right? And so when we talk about proteins, these are the major players in healthy growth and functioning of cell tissues, organs throughout the body. And as I've mentioned over and over again, protein chases away hunger by balancing the hormones, especially that, you know, insulin hormone, and making you feel satisfied. So it stabilizes blood sugar. It makes you feel full longer and burn more calories. There was actually an interesting study done this year where they took 2 groups, and they gave them exactly the same amount of calories for 12 weeks, this group A and group B. The only difference was that one group was a little higher on the glycemic index. There was more carbs. This other group had more protein, but the same amount of calories. At the end of the 12 weeks, the group that had the same amount of calories but more protein lost 20 pounds, and the group that had less protein lost 10. And they were very carefully monitored. The food was provided. You know, they weren't just going on what people were saying they were doing. It was a very good study. And they also lost an average of 1.5 inches more around their waist. So protein speeds up your weight loss because it takes more energy to digest protein. We've also got the healthy fats. Don't want to forget those. They are essential. You know, in the 80s, they came up with the no-fat and fat-free diet. Well, let's just look in the 80s, the obesity rate in the United States was 15%, and in early 2000, it was 30%. So I don't think that fat-free craze was helping us, because people just made up more calories by having a higher glycemic index, higher sugar levels. And just again, fat is necessary for overall health. Fish, avocados, nuts, seeds, you know, healthy fats. I have something here on healthy fats. Cold pressed olive oil, grapeseed oil, coconut oil. Those are really the oils that I use. Now, a good virgin olive oil, cold pressed olive oil, I use that more raw, you know, on salads and that kind of thing. Grapeseed oil is good for sautéing and cooking, and believe it or not, even though it's a saturated oil, everyone's singing the praises now of coconut oil as being one of the best oils out there for you. It is incredibly healing for your gut. It's, you know, it's really a anti-yeast and fungal. It's very good for the lining of the gut, and it has a very high cooking point too. You can get two kinds. One has absolutely no flavor at all, and then the extra virgin one has this coconut flavor. So you know, you have to decide if you want to have it taste like, you know, it's okay for Thai food, or if you're putting it in a smoothie, it's really yummy. But if you want just something flavorless, look for the other one. And then olives, a serving of oil for olives, 8 to 10 olives is considered a serving of oil. Or an avocado, you can have, you know, a third. They say a quarter, but even if you had a half of an avocado, it's such good oil. And I'm convinced that oil does not make you fat. I mean, unless you just have such an outrageous amount of calories. And then the other thing that's going to make up our diet is vegetables. Yeah. So phytonutrients and other plant foods, they are part of every function and system in the body. All these vitamins and nutrients really support disease-fighting immune system, and they're a vital process of detoxification. And this was a really good paper about how high dietary intake of vegetables and fruits result in reduced acid load. And what we want is to have a more alkaline, more alkalinity in our bodies and our diets in order to, you know, properly absorb minerals. So if someone is too acidic, which you can tell through your first morning urine using pH papers, if you're too acidic, then, you know, that's a lot of information for $13 that you get, you know, that your pH papers cost you, because, you know, this is the biochemistry of working individually with someone, and the importance of looking at how well the body is, well, really absorbing what it needs. I don't know if you can see this, but I put it up here because you will have this in my online presentation. And this is a detox food plan, and it divides food up into sections. As you can see, the yellow part are fats and oils, and the orange is protein. So do you see how nuts and seeds are partly fats and oils and partly protein? The other thing is, for a detox diet, it really is telling you what to avoid. Can you see that? Avoiding butter, margarine. Do you see under the eliminate red in the fats and oils? I'll be going soybean oil, shortening, okay? The nuts and seeds. And it also gives you a serving size, just so that you can keep things in perspective if you're having a snack. You know, this is the interesting thing. A serving of nuts to give you, you know, the kind of the 15 grams of, or not the 15 grams of protein, but the couple hundred calories and a nice snack. It's 5 to 7 walnuts, 10 to 12 almonds. You know, you got to get a reality check every now and then, because you can have, I had one client who was eating, we figured it out, like 950 calories of nuts. You know, he loved them. You know, couldn't understand. Gosh, I can't understand. I had another woman who, she was a teacher. She had a long drive home, and she said, you know, I have such a good diet. I can't understand why I'm not losing weight. I said, well, what about on that drive? You know, what about after school? What do you have? Oh, I only have fat-free pretzels on my way home. Well, we figured that out, 800 calories. I mean, you know, you really need to look at labels and make healthy choices and think ahead, like we were talking about before. So the proteins, healthy proteins, what to eliminate there if you really want to do a detox diet, because we're really talking about just 2 weeks. Give it 2 weeks, and the next slide will show what to eat and what to eliminate, and see how you feel. Unlimited green, starchy, non-starchy vegetables. I want you to notice how they separate starchy vegetables. The starchy vegetables are the ones grown underground, like acorn squash, butternut squash, potatoes, winter squashes, because they're higher in sugar. And so people who have type 2 diabetes or who are really struggling and need more individualized care, we often have them eliminate the starchy vegetables and even eliminate all grains and fruits for a while to reset their body. But for the rest of us, no dairy on the detox diet. This is the saddest thing for some people. Interestingly, I find working with people that the one thing people cling to and want the most is the thing that they probably have some kind of a sensitivity to and they need to let go of. The best way to see what your food sensitivities are to eliminate them for at least a month and then add them back and see how you feel. So the features of the detox plan are clean, organically preferred non-GMO foods, gluten and dairy-free. Well, we all know what dairy is, right? It comes from milk, including goat's milk, by the way, and goat's cheese. Gluten is the protein in wheat and rye and barley. Okay, so mostly people in the dairy, sugar in the dairy, right? But the thing that's often the biggest culprit is the protein, the casein in dairy. So casein is the protein in dairy, and gluten is the protein in the wheat and the rye and the barley. And those, we see people have the biggest effects and feel the best when they eliminate those for a while. You need to eat plenty of antioxidant and phytochemicals from plant foods. And focus on fiber, getting enough fiber. If you eat a lot of vegetables, you have a lot of fiber. If you eat healthy legumes, there's a lot of fiber. You know, what doesn't have fiber is processed food. Okay, so here's the big one. Eliminate, this is what our recommended elimination for the detox diet is: all sugars. All sugars. Okay, I even recommend people eliminate stevia for a while, for the 2 weeks. All artificial sweeteners. Whoops. Artificial sweeteners, oh my goodness. If you could see some of the people that come into the office and how ill they are, and then when they go off their diet soda, how much better they feel, you'd really be amazed. So gluten, corn, oh, I'm going too long. Alcohol, caffeine, and then include lean protein, nuts and seeds, vegetables of many colors, good oils, fiber, lots of water, herbs and spices, no grains, or 1 serving of a whole gluten-free grain. Eliminate all those sugars. Perfect plate. Low starch, low glycemic vegetables, 25% lean and clean protein, 3 to 4 ounce serving for women, 6 ounces for men, and 25% slow burning carbs. Size of a winter squash. I highly recommend Tana with 70% vegetables, 30% protein, and then phases in and the grains as you go through. Most all of the diets are doing that too. Also Dr. Hyman's blood sugar solution and control. Got to keep in mind serving sizes. Eat a nutritional breakfast. Smoothie or vegetables and eggs. It helps maintain weight loss. Lots of research on that. Here are a bunch of examples of what a meal would look like. Broiled lamb chop and steamed vegetables. Brown rice and black beans mixed, topped with oil and garnished with chopped scallions, sliced avocado, or guacamole. You know, the salad with the top. There are lots of ideas there for you. And here's for the more visual. You can make a granola with nuts and seeds, coconut. Or here's a little rice wrap with salmon, avocado, and sprouts. Or you can use my little piece of turkey or a piece of lettuce. Those look like maybe turkey meatballs, some sweet potatoes, and a salad. Or a huge salad. I thought this looked like maybe they sauteed some of those greens, or maybe that's sauteed vegetables. Or a slow-cooked meal like this with lots and lots of vegetables, or a beautiful salad, a little bit of that lamb or whatever that is. Or on a more lean day, using a lettuce wrap or a Swiss chard, maybe that looks like. This is my favorite, cauliflower mashed potatoes. I like it so much better than mashed potatoes. It's absolutely delicious. And then here are a bunch of snacks and snack pictures. You know, a little cucumber with a little salmon salad on there, or a deviled egg, or a roll-up, or vegetables with some almond butter, or some soup, vegetable soup. And to eat or to drink, water, herb teas, nature's unlimited potential. Thank you.